Hello, Entrepreneurs Classroom. Good to see everybody on. Of course, as always, I'm just going to invite some folks on so that we are not having to repeat every single thing we talk about. Tonight's training actually was born out of frustration reading through my timeline. So I noticed that a lot of people on my timeline had tried manifesting. Uh oh. Sorry, guys. I noticed that a lot of people had tried manifesting, but they weren't necessarily getting the results they wanted. And so, because they weren't seeing immediate results, their decision their conclusion was that manifestation must not work. And so today I really wanted to come on and talk about what to do when you're not seeing the results you want when you're manifesting. And then also, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the ways that people use manifestation to manipulate folks. So we will be getting into all of that tonight. So if you are watching, please go ahead and share this with a friend. Somebody needs this message to bless their soul. And then say, hey, so I know who is on with me. I see that we have a couple people who have jumped on. So again, if you are watching, go ahead and say hi. Right now, I'm just sharing this out with a few folks so that we can get as many people on as possible and not have to repeat all of this information. So for those who do not know me, my name is Benir Pierre. I'm an intuitive life coach, manifestation mentor, and the secret weapon every single boss needs to get your life and business into abundant alignment. I teach leaders to apply the principles of abundance to create a fearless and intentional lifestyle. So, what that means is that I help you live in purpose and on purpose. So I thank you again for checking out the manifestation and managing abundance series. So again, I'm just sharing this out with some folks. Please do the same. And if you are on watching, say, hey, so I know who's watching. I don't like voyeurs and lurkers. I want to talk to you. So let me know who is on. Alrighty. So again, today we are talking about what do you do when manifestation isn't working? What do you do when you have done all the right things and it's just not working out for you? I've been seeing a lot of people on my page, and again, sorry, I'm just inviting some folks. As you see, I cannot multitask, so I'm going to stop. So I've been seeing a lot of people on my page talking about how they've tried manifesting and it's really just some BS, or it's something that works for some people, but it isn't realistic to expect that we should be able to manifest our entire life. Hey there, Arnitras. Thanks so much for hopping on. So, to the naysayers, the first thing that I want to say is you're wrong. And I understand that, a lot of times when people talk about manifestation, it's really a whole lot of theory, but understand that manifestation truly is a practice. It's not something that you try once and become a master at. Manifestation is a practice of self mastery, which means that it's about constantly bringing yourself into submission, bringing your thoughts into submission, getting your mind right so that you're able to stay aligned with your intention. So, just as a really quick recap for those who have not seen any of my trainings, manifestation simply is bringing your thoughts into fruition. Whether you are manifesting consciously or unconsciously, you're manifesting at every single moment of your life. And so when we talk about manifestation, it really is about that conscious intention. Know that the formula for manifestation is clear and focused intention, unwavering faith, and inspired action. And so a lot of times we are doing every single thing right, but it seems like nothing is happening, especially when it comes to business. So I know that this is the business room. So we're going to talk about business. So we're manifesting these clients, we're manifesting these business partnerships, but it seems like nothing actually is happening. And so a few things that I want to say here. Number one, you have to trust the process. So often with manifestation, it really is simply about getting clear on your why, getting clear on your what. So what do I want and why is this important to me? What will I feel when this happens to me? And then, so once you're clear on that, having that unwavering faith. Hey there, Sharita. Thanks so much for hopping on. So the problem, though, is often we have the faith and we're clear about our intention and we still don't see the manifestation. And so there are a number of reasons that we don't see what we want to manifest when we want it. And a lot of times, these manifestation gurus, when they teach that you are what you attract, they try to make you feel like if you find yourself in a negative situation in life, it's because that must be who you are. Or you must have done something in a past life that you're now paying for. And that is bullshit. And the thing is, even if that is true, because of course we know that, yes, we do attract what we are. And sometimes when we are in a situation where we're at a lower vibration, we're attracting things. But the thing is that at every moment we have the opportunity to change and to shift that. And so I don't like when people try to manipulate people's emotions and make them feel like, their negative situation is because of something that they must have said or must have thought. Understand that a lot of times when we don't see things manifest the way that they want, there's a few things. Number one is that, so of course you guys know that I love the Lord. I'm a church girl at heart. So I quote the Bible a lot. So one of my favorite scriptures is the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and adds no sorrow to it. Understanding that when God gives you a blessing, it doesn't come with suffering. But sometimes what we're asking for is not aligned with the purpose that God has for us. And so we're inviting and attracting all of this suffering to us because we're not in alignment. So first thing that you want to do, so I always talk about how we have to make sure that we are asking for what we want. But before you ask for what you want to ask, is this your will? Will this bring me to my highest self? Is this the path for me? Because so often we ask after the fact. We ask God, why isn't this working? God, why am I praying and why am I, meditating and doing all of these things and I'm not seeing results? But before we even get to the point of the inspired action and the unwavering faith, we first want to make sure that you are aligned with your purpose. Knowing again that every single good and perfect gift comes from above. Every single thing that you're asking for, this abundance, this prosperity, these clients, whatever the case is, whatever you're trying to manifest, understand that if it's for your highest good, it's already in reserve. It's your birthright. It's like that trust fund that's waiting for you. But you have to get into the place to receive it. So if you think about an actual trust fund, right? Most trust funds, the person has to be 18 years old to receive it. So the trust fund does not move around. The money is still right where it always has been. It's simply waiting for the recipient to get into position and alignment so that they can receive. It's the exact same thing. So a lot of times when we're not receiving the things that we want, it's often because it's not in alignment with our highest good. So make sure that you are, before you start worrying about why it's not showing up, just do a check. Is this for my highest good? Is this ushering me to where I need to be? Because a lot of times the things that we're trying to manifest and the things we're asking for are actually blocking us from where we've been called to go. We're acting like Jonah, and we've been called to go to Nineveh, but we want to go all the way around the world. And so it's really important that you make sure that you are aligned with your highest good. The second thing is understanding that you do have to trust the process. Sometimes when we find ourselves in situations that are unpleasant, a lot of times it's part of the process. So when we're asking God to elevate us, when we're asking God to open up the way, when we're asking God to open doors, sometimes a door has to close before another door opens. And so I do understand that often it feels like we're not manifesting. Often it feels like nothing is happening. But sometimes that very space, so for example, I can speak for myself. When I first moved back to Atlanta, and this was when I had really just started getting into manifestation. I had seen manifestation work in my life. I had seen it work. I moved across the country, had no clue how I was going to do it. Manifested it the whole way. Manifested my new car, everything. And so I got here to Atlanta, and I couldn't find a job for nothing. Before I left Oregon, I said that I wanted to get out of the finance field because I felt like I wasn't really living up to my full purpose, which was to change lives and make global impact. And so I wanted to really focus my energy on building my coaching business. But I knew that I wanted to have a full-time job. I didn't have enough saved up to just jump at that time. And for an entire year, I could not find work. And at first I said, okay, well, maybe this is God giving me some time to work on my business. But did I work on my business? No. I sat there on my behind. The first month, I was like, I'm not even looking for a job. This is my break. I've been working since I was 14. No inspired action. Then I started applying for jobs, and those jobs were not aligned with where I was supposed to be. But what happened is I started losing my faith. And that is, again, we know that manifestation is bringing your thoughts into fruition. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things that you cannot see. So your faith is bringing these thoughts and these visions that you cannot see into your reality. But I didn't have faith that my current reality was ushering me into that space I was asking for. And so what happened is, even though I was working, it became busy work. And I thought that I was having faith, but it wasn't faith. So often we're saying that we have faith, but really it's simply that we have eyesight. It's simply that because we can see, because we can see the path, so often we're focused on our abilities and our strengths and the things we know we're good at, and we're calling that faith. That's not faith. You know you're good at it. You went to school for it. You should be good at it. And so often when we find ourselves in this situation where we're not manifesting what we thought we wanted, again, we have to make sure that we have all of the parts of the formula. And in that space, trust the process. Count it all joy. I don't know why I'm preaching tonight, so my apologies. Count it all joy when you find yourself in diverse temptations, when you find yourself troubled on every side. Now, understand why you're supposed to count it joy. So, number one, of course, we have to be grateful in all things, and everything give thanks. So that's the first part of it. But why is it joy? In that pain, in that suffering, in that uncertainty, there is opportunity. Often we find ourselves at the bottom of the hole. And it's not until you are on your back that you can even see your way to look forward. And so I want to ask, for those who are on, for those who have started businesses, when did you get your most profound ideas? Was it when you felt on top of the world and you felt unstoppable? Or was it when you felt like you had nothing left to give and then you found that inspiration? I know personally in my life, every single time I received the inspiration that took me to that next level, it was because I had nothing else. I had nothing but to be able to trust in God. And for those who don't connect with the term God, the universe, your higher self, whatever it is outside of you that gives you hope, sometimes you have to end up in that dark space where it truly is simply your faith that is bringing you forward. And we have to make sure that when we get to the space where we cannot see and we're fully in that darkness, that we are really actually using our faith and that we're not simply relying on our eyesight. So again, I don't know how this turned into a sermon, but I keep seeing people on my page talking about how manifestation is not real. And the problem is that, just like I said in the beginning, whether you're manifesting from your power or you're manifesting from your fear, you're always manifesting. Every single word. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. So, a lot of times we have our thoughts. And I have a friend who does this quite often. It's easy for her to talk about the things that are not going well. But when she has something great that's happening, she's afraid to speak it because she thinks she's going to jinx it, or she thinks that somehow saying it out loud is going to take away the power from it. And it's the very opposite. Of course, we know that, right? That your tongue, I actually posted on my page yesterday, your tongue has the power to birth or abort your dreams. You choose. You choose. Your tongue holds the power of life and death. What will you do with it? And the thing is, so often we're speaking about our problems. We're speaking about the situation. We're focused on the problem and not the promise. And so it's really important to make sure that you not only are thinking the positive things, but also speaking them. If you think about even just the action that it takes to produce sound, you have to create vibration in your voice box. You have to raise your vibration to even get sound out. The word tells us to speak those things that are not as though they were. It didn't say think those things. And so sometimes when you find yourself in a situation where it's hard to have faith, you have to speak life into your situation. And again, trust the process. Understand that you are there for a reason. Whether it's for a lesson, whether it's to pick up tools for the next stage of the journey, you're there for a reason. And so often we want growth to be this linear process. So we start at point A, we go to point B, we're done. But so often growth is a zigzag. So we start at point A, we start going towards point B, and then we find that there were some lessons that we have to go back to point A to pick up. Don't forsake the journey. So often we're looking at this as a destination, this entrepreneur life, this destination to financial freedom. And yes, it is a destination. But the thing is, it's the journey too. And who cares if you get there if you can't appreciate the journey there? And so if I can leave you with anything else tonight, it is that whatever situation you find yourself in, understand that right now, where you are in this very moment, in this exact moment is where you're supposed to be. This experience you're having right now is where you're supposed to be. I spoke with a woman who told me that she was an ex-con, and to look at her, you would never imagine. To look at how God has turned her around. A lot of times they say you don't look like what you've been through. She don't look like what she's been through. But she's using that to go back and reach out to people who are still in that situation. Now, you can't tell me that while she was in that situation, she knew the reason that she was in jail, locked up, didn't have her freedom, was so that she could go back and free somebody else. You can't tell me she knew that. You can't tell me she knew that when she got out of there, she would start a business that would empower and set captives free. There's no way she could have known that in the darkness. And so it's really important that while we're in the darkness, we allow ourselves to experience and trust the process, because your greatest good, your highest calling is right there in the middle of that tunnel, right with you. So often we're looking for this light at the end of the tunnel. Honey, you are the light right in the middle of the tunnel. Right now, you are the light. And so if I can leave you with anything, it is simply to trust the process. Trust where you are. Know that it is still ushering you. And even if, because again, manifestation folks love to tell you that it's because you clearly must have done something wrong. Guess what? Even if that is the reason, who cares? You still have the power to take this moment right now and shift it and change it and use it to help get you to that next level in life. So I hope that this was helpful. I know that I didn't really give you the money tips like I normally do, but I felt that somebody needed some encouragement, because the thing is, the money, it's all in your mind. I literally just finished a training right before this one talking about credit and investments. And one of my guests, that's what she said, that the money, it's not in your pocketbook. It's in your mind. So I encourage you to trust the process, to keep going, even though it might not seem like it's yielding the result that you want. Keep going. Make sure that you are in alignment with your intention. Make sure that you're in alignment with your purpose, and look for the lessons right there in the middle of the tunnel, right where you are. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you. And of course, I will be back next Thursday and every single Thursday for a continuation of the Manifesting and Managing Abundance series. I thank you, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your week.